Hey, Eric.
Hey, John. How are you?
I am doing well tonight. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. I suppose, as usual. Um,
Fantastic.
yeah, a little early this week because I'm going to be heading out on a road trip tomorrow. I think
Uh,
both of us are going to be on a road trip tomorrow.
in different directions.
Yes, in
In
different
different
directions.
directions. Yes. Yep. I'm going to go pick my son up from college.
And I'm going to go get my middle daughter checked into her new apartment for college.
See? Busy, busy, busy.
Yeah, yeah. All good, though. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that the weather stays kind of warm, no snow in the passes. I'm sorry, skiers.
It looks clear. It looks like it'll be fine. So I have already booked my hotel. I had planned on trying to get to Pendleton and look at the weather to decide if I stay in Pendleton or go all the way to Boise. But looking at the weather reports on both sides of this, there's no incoming weather, knock on wood. So I booked the
Don't
hotel
jinx
all the way
us.
to Boise. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Well,
we'll see.
you're already ahead of me because I don't actually have a place to sleep planned for tomorrow night yet. So that's okay. It's one of my
Yeah.
actions after we finish recording.
All right.
So, well, did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, we did zoo light. So my boy, I think I mentioned before, my boy volunteers at the zoo, and he is
Uh-huh.
volunteering for zoo lights, which allows you to walk around. They have lights all over the zoo. You can kind of walk around, see animals that are out. The elephants were out, but it's all dark because it's got all the holiday lights up.
Uh-huh.
So it was kind of fun. We did that, and then we drove around. We have a few favorite spots to go see the neighborhood lights.
Christmas lights. Yeah.
Yeah, all the Christmas lights up. And there's one house that does, the tune into the radio, and they
Oh,
just
sure,
have a
sure.
fantastic light show. And they have the Carol of the Bells Imperial March mashup, and it is awesome. So we go there every year to watch that. I sit in the car until that one loops through, and then I'm like, all right,
Uh-huh.
I'm happy now because the lights match with it's got the Star Wars themed lights going on and everything. The
Yeah.
the rebel symbol, the Imperial symbol, the Empire. It's just good fun, just good fun.
Somebody's got a good investment in time in getting something like that going.
Yes, and bless them.
Those who are about to listen, thank you.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, and I don't know, just that. Oh, another very strange thing happened. So I had ordered a pair of shoes online, and it said, I actually had ordered them while we were in Texas. Figured, well, by the time I get home, I'll have the
Okay.
shoes. And they didn't come. They didn't come, and so I had got home, and so it had been 5 days. It says shipped from the thing, but it's like been a week, and it's supposed to be 3 to 5 days. And if you click on the shipping order, it's like hasn't left the facility yet or whatever. So I email their tech support and say, "Hey, are my shoes still coming? Are they lost?" And they're like, "Oh, sorry, we'll send you a new pair."
Like that wasn't the answer to my question, but okay.
Like, okay. So 3 days later, new pair of shoes show up. Two
So
days
wait.
after that, the original pair of shoes showed up.
I was gonna
So
say
now I have both pairs of shoes. They're Vans.
okay.
And
So
so
you know what size you wear and you know that you like them. I
yes,
can't
yes,
I haven't progressed in my
to buying shoes
evolutionary
online yet.
history to buying shoes online. Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah.
I bought a few pair at the store and like, oh, I actually like these shoes. And so I bought some online because online they have different deals, and it was like 40% off.
Sure.
A 12 days of Christmas, 40% off. Oh, so I'll buy a pair of shoes that I probably wouldn't buy normally because they're
Right.
40% off. So now I end up with two of these pairs of shoes. And so I email I chat with their support and I say, hey, you guys ended up sending me two. Do you want me to return this extra pair of shoes to the van store at the mall? Or what? And they're like, no, our mistake. You can keep them or donate them. I'm like, well, what if I
Okay.
don't? Can I at that point I was like, okay, thank you. And then I afterwards I was thinking about, well, I got to find somebody. If I donate them, I got to find someone who has my size of shoes, or I just give them to Goodwill, and then selfish me thought, I wonder if I can exchange them in the van store. So
for a different color or
yeah, for a different, I mean, I might as well. So I go to the store and I tell them exactly. I say, hey, they sent me 2 pair of shoes. I'm happy just to drop these off because it was a mistake on your part. And the guy at the van store was like, nope, if they told you they're for free, we'll exchange them we'll exchange them for whatever pair of shoes you want, as long as they're less, equal or less value than the list price.
Okay.
But I paid 40% off. I'm like, well, I paid 40% off and these were technically zero. So
yeah.
He's like, don't worry about it. You just go find a pair of shoes. So I found a pair of shoes that were a little bit less than the list cost of the others, and they swapped them out for me. So I got basically a free pair of shoes. So I am a fan of Vans, and it probably was less expensive for them to do that, and they gained a customer for probably more pairs of shoes in the future. Anyways,
to take them back and blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
then to have me ship them back or return them or, whatever. So
did I mention on the podcast that Amazon did something similar to that for the air fresheners that we bought?
I don't recall that.
I don't. So this was, I guess, a couple weeks ago. My wife was like, "Hey, let's get some of the Mrs. Meyer's cleaning soap, spray, counter spray stuff, in this particular seasonal, not flavor, I guess you don't eat it, scent."
Flavor, and I like it, and I'm good at that.
And so she was like, "Oh, but I can't. They didn't have it at Fred Meyer," and I think we were literally in Fred Meyer, and I was like, well, I mean, it's awful when you're in the store and you're like, well, fine, I'll just buy it on Amazon. Yeah. But if they had it at Fred Meyer, we would have bought it at Fred Meyer. So instead, I bought the wrong thing on Amazon. So, and it turned out, and this actually happened while we were in Texas. It came, and she's like, yeah, you bought air freshener, not cleaner.
Oh, soap. Yeah.
And I must have just been like, oh, that looks like a spray bottle. Go get the spray bottle. And so I came home and I was like, well, do you want it? And she was like, no, just send it back. I was like, okay. So I tried to do a return on Amazon, just on the app, and they're like, sorry, this item can't be returned. Chat to support. So I chatted to support, and they were like, no, actually, I don't think I even got a human. I think it was totally a support bot that was like, why are you contacting? I'm trying to return this. Why do you want to return it?
I got the wrong thing. Yeah.
What do you how can we make it right? I'm like, take it back. They're like, we've credited your account. Keep it. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, well.
There's got to be an over-under on a dollar amount for them at that point. They're like,
yeah,
if I send them to a human, it now costs X.
Totally, right?
To leave it alone costs X minus something.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sure exactly right. Bots are cheap. Humans are spendy.
Yeah.
So, there it is. It is what it is.
Okay.
Well, so I had a fun project this weekend because I think I told you I was going to mentor an 8th grader building a beehive.
Oh, yeah. I remember you saying it was going to do something with bees, but bees aren't active in the winter and you weren't quite sure what.
Yeah. So
building a beehive. Okay.
So we built the hive. So she came over on both Saturday and Sunday, actually, because of course I, contrary to every software developer ever who said, oh yeah, I think we can knock that out in 3 hours. It took us 6.5. So
of course.
So she came over on Saturday, and we got a bunch of it built, but clear about halfway done, and so end of Saturday I was like, when are we going to finish this? And I knew this coming weekend for me is 100% booked, and so it wouldn't be till Christmas weekend or after. So I was like, no, if you can come back tomorrow or it's Sunday, we can get it all finished. And we did. So, which, we built the the landing board, the bottom board. We built the brood box, the honey super, the inner cover, and the telescoping outer cover. And it's awesome. And she is going to come over again in the spring when I'm getting bees. And I think she wants to actually get a nuke and
try to do bees herself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Use the hive for what it was intended. So,
okay.
So I'm really happy for her, and that maybe there will be yet another beekeeper in the world. But
nice. Nice.
It was very fun to construct everything. I was thinking I would build something for myself, like at the same time, but it just didn't work out. We were quite busy, just kind of getting all the pieces and stuff for her.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But that was fun. It was awesome, and I like building things with wood. I get distracted and I don't go out there for like months at a time, and then when I'm out there, I'm like, this really makes me happy out here. So. Anyway, it was a fun weekend though. That was cool. That was really awesome. So it's good to go.
All right. Well, give me some follow up.
Okay. I did. I will throw. I think I saw this on Zach Whitaker's newsletter on Sunday. But this is the link I'll put in here is for a Wired story, follow up for the Binance settlement that happened a couple weeks ago. We mentioned this in episode 311, but evidently one of the, let's say, agreements as part of the settlement for Binance that resulted in the CEO stepping down and one of the largest, I think, settlements with the U.S. government ever is that it says when the company is sentenced in a matter of months, it will be forced to open its past books to regulators. What was once a haven for anarchic crypto commerce is about to be transformed into the opposite, perhaps the most Fed-friendly business in the cryptocurrency industry, retroactively offering more than half a decade of users' transaction records to the U.S. regulators and law enforcement.
Oof.
Because Binance started, let's see, the quote was... it grew from its 2017 founding into the biggest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. As it amassed well over 100 million crypto trading users globally, it openly told the United States government that as an offshore operation, it didn't have to comply with the country's financial regulations and money laundering laws.
Well, I am wondering how long before different federal agencies get a hold of this data and start going after folks who didn't pay their taxes on their crypto earnings, because there was that period of time where crypto was going crazy, and I'm sure there are more than one teenager with a Lamborghini somewhere and no income according to the IRS.
Yeah, I should have looked. I don't remember what Bitcoin was trading for in 2017. But certainly sub 10,000, like $5,000. I don't
know. Let's see. Yeah, 2015 it was 300. 2017 it was peaked at 14,000.
Wow. 2017 it peaked at 14,000
in December. December, so it's on its way up.
Wow, because it crashed last year, earlier this year, down to the 17,000 range. I don't think I realized it had been that long. Anyway, regardless.
Yep, there you go.
Regardless, but that means in that time period, it went up quite significantly. So evidently, the settlement agreement stipulates a, quote, strict new regime of data sharing with law enforcement and regulators. The company has agreed to comply with regulators' quote requests for information, a term that carries none of the evidence or suspicion requirements required for obtaining a warrant or even a subpoena. So, yeah, there was something else in here that I don't think I pulled it out, but that there's going to be a third-party company chosen by the government but paid by Binance to be internal to ensure that they comply with any requests. So that will be fun times.
I wonder how many U.S. crypto bros are Googling countries without U.S. extradition treaties.
I think that there are, there are two. I don't know. This is John's perspective, and John's perspective isn't necessarily the right one. But John's perspective is that there are two camps there. There's the essentially criminals, and then there's the tax enforcement or tax evaders, and so I have no, again, John's opinion. I have no doubt that both will be gone after, perhaps simultaneously by different agencies or different people that are incented to do different things. IRS versus the
FBI.
What do you? Well, I wasn't thinking FBI. I was thinking the the financial crimes. There's like a what's it called?
The DOJ.
FinCEN. Yeah, the Treasury Department. Actually,
gotcha.
Yeah, the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Division. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. Huh.
Yeah. So it does say that Binance has agreed to scour all of its transactions from 2018 to 2022 and file suspicious activity reports for anything it deems a potential violation of U.S. law from that 5-year period. That SAR look back means the company will now be actively scrutinizing its customers in retrospect, not just passively assenting to regulators poring over its databases. And then here's the final clue, and we can go on to your topic. It says, not clue. Here's the final paragraph that I pulled out. I don't think Binance's customers have the slightest clue of the ramifications of this plea and consent decree. It's unprecedented, said John Reed Stark, who spent 20 years as an attorney at the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, including as the founder of its Office of Internet Enforcement. If they're a drug dealer or a terrorist or a child pornography peddler, they're going to get caught.
Good.
And yeah, that's also John's opinion. So,
all right.
What'd you bring me?
Move on. So this one is a funny article. I remember seeing it over the weekend, and it's an app for Android called Beeper. It's Beeper Mini, and it allows Android users to send iMessage messages to Apple users. So no more green bubble, blue bubble.
Okay.
And I was reading about that saying, Apple's not going to like that. They came out and basically you use your iCloud credentials to log into an application. If I remember correctly, when I looked at the first iteration of the article, you would log into an log into a server, and it would act as a proxy on your behalf from the Android app to iCloud to then message to whomever. So you could have your Android phone and get the blue bubbles on iMessage. Anyways, so I read that. I'm like, that ain't going to work. And so I'll just read the addendum at the end of the article. I'll read this first. It was, this post was updated at 12:50 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, December 9th to reflect the restored function of the Beeper Cloud desktop and the CEO's social media response after the outage. It was updated again at 12:35 p.m. on Sunday, December 10th, with Apple's statement on its efforts to counteract Beeper and the CEO's comment on the same. Then it was updated again at 2 p.m. on December 11th with Beeper Mini's restoration of the services and a blog post about the weekend outage. And then at 7 p.m. again with a note about the app's revised sign-in method. So,
holy moly.
This article was like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that ain't going to go over well. Then it didn't. And now it's apparently back. You can go log into Android and get this app. Now, I wouldn't do this because basically like I said, it's an app to allow that you get from the Google Play Store, and they have done a third-party security assessment, so they're not cheat. They're trying to stay above board, but they're upset that Apple has basically locked iPhone users into a closed ecosystem, which is their iMessage ecosystem, and so
okay.
They're providing a service for users so that they can communicate and get the benefits of iMessage through it. And they're apparently their app, they want to have their app, both the desktop app and the app for Android phones, to work with other message services. It reminds me of what was the message that did multiple messages? You could do Yahoo Messenger and AOL Messenger and ICQ, and you could do all of them in one app. I don't remember that. Anyways, years ago. So it's kind of back to that. Is kind of their idea. Anyways, is doing that. Anyway, so the article is just interesting on the back and forth. They're doing a fix. So it's going to be basically a cat and mouse game. Apple came forward and this is the statement that Apple gave on that late Saturday. They stated that they had blocked the service, and Apple, quote, took steps to protect our users from blocking techniques that exploit fake credentials in order to gain access to iMessage, citing the metadata exposure and enabling unwarranted messages, spam, and phishing attacks. And Apple stated it would continue to make updates in the future to protect our users. So the CEO, I'm going to butcher his name, Mijikovsky, took exception with Apple's statement, and he said, in fact, Beeper Mini has increased security and decreased exposure for Apple's users. He said, especially compared to SMS. Beeper did not allow for unwelcome messages, spam, and phishing, and also said that Beeper does not use fake credentials, and that Beeper's core iMessage technology is all open source and available on GitHub, and an escrow provided by a third-party research firm. With escrow provided by a third-party research firm, he would happily offer his full Android source code to Apple or other involved parties. So it looks like it's going to be a little back and forth here for a little bit. So it's back to working again, apparently. So we'll see. That was the fun one that I saw, and it was an evolving story over the weekend.
That's fantastic. I feel like I read the first or some early thing of this where I thought it was something like they were banking phones or something like that and doing a relay, but maybe that's different from this one.
Yeah, I think what this one someone said is you basically give Beeper your credentials. They proxy through, basically they log in to a Mac Mini, in a cluster in a Mac Mini. They log you into that with your credentials, and they proxy that Mac Mini, which now has all the keys and credentials to talk to Apple, and send that information along. And it all started from apparently a teenager who reverse engineered the Apple iMessage service. So there you go.
Mac Mini Colo.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, there you go. That's mine for this week.
Okay. Well, that's a good story, and good luck to Mijikovsky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the quote. Why do hard things at all? Because hard things need to be done. Yes.
That's right.
That's exactly right. Okay. Well, I also have a Apple adjacent article, but also, as evidently I am a fan of, is anything that Ron Wyden does. Yes, he's our senator. So I didn't pull out a lot. This was not a long article. But in a letter to the Department of Justice, Senator Ron Wyden said foreign officials were demanding data from Alphabet and Apple push notifications. It says, although details were sparse, the letter lays out yet another path by which governments can track smartphones. Apps of all kinds rely on push notifications to alert smartphone users to incoming messages, breaking news, and other updates. Yes, we have zillions of them.
True.
What users often do not realize is that almost all such notifications travel over Google and Apple's servers.
Where did they think they traveled?
People. I don't know what's in most people's heads, but I would say that most people think that messages go somewhere and they get to the phone.
Yeah.
The fact that they might not be end-to-end encrypted, the fact that they might traverse both phone company networks as well as, platform provider networks, as well as, being viewed by the app authors, there's lots of stuff. And I remain impressed and amazed that anything works.
Exactly.
Every time my wife's like, why did you the only thing you did is reboot it? I'm like, yes, that is true. Sorry.
There is real magic, and it is called the internet.
Yeah.
Magic is real.
Magic is real. There's my title. So anyway, the point being that evidently somehow Ron, this is another source of magic, the existence of Ron Wyden's letter to the Department of Justice, evidently that alone was enough to enable Apple to do a release and update their privacy policy saying that this thing exists. It said, the letter asked the Department of Justice to repeal or modify any policies that hindered public discussions of push notification spying. But it's not like they did anything yet. But in a statement after that, Apple said that Wyden's letter, and I'm reading this verbatim, Apple said that Wyden's letter gave them the opening they needed to share more details with the public about how governments monitored push notifications.
It's the 10K canary is what this is.
Exactly. You got the, take the clause out of the contract. There was no comment from the Department of Justice, but Apple's statement goes on to say, in this case, the federal government prohibited us from sharing any information, the company said. Now that this method has become public, we are updating our transparency reporting to detail these kind of requests.
Nice.
It's a nice line you have to walk when your transparency report can't include things that you should be transparent about.
Yeah.
It might also be known as the not exactly transparent report. So
as transparent as we can be report.
our transparent adjacent report. So Google did not release a statement quite saying like that, but it did say that it, quote, shared Wyden's commitment to keeping users informed about these requests. And there was no comment from the Department of Justice. So there you go. That was my topic for the week. So And yeah, I mean it makes total sense that Apple and Google can see those. I didn't pull it out, but there was a comment in the article that most, or not most, I mean we're really only talking the two platforms, do have capabilities to enable end-to-end encryption for push notifications, but that most notifications do not avail themselves of said feature.
Right.
So,
okay.
There it is. All right, my friend. How about something fun?
All right. So I have one thing. I think one of your something funs a while back was the We Are Bob, the Bobiverse,
We Are Legion. Those were such good books.
I had told you because I went to Amazon to try to buy them on Kindle, and it would not sell them to me. It said these are only available through Kindle Unlimited. And I was like, all right. Maybe I thought, well, maybe I'll see if John can loan them to me. And then a few days later, I went and looked, and it was now available for sale. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So Amazon is clearly doing A/B testing.
You are cohort B.
Trying to convince me to, I apparently buy enough books off Amazon. They're like, come on, you really want to join Kindle Unlimited?
You should do Kindle Unlimited.
And so I buy the book, and then it gives me and for $2, do you also want to add audio narration? I'm like, yeah, sure. $2. All right. Then I buy book 2, 2 more books for audio narration. Buy book 3, $2 for more audio narration. I'm like, I'm prepping myself for the next, for the long road trip coming up. Get to book 4. Book 4, no audio. You have to, this audio is only available through an Audible subscription. Join now for a discounted price of $5.49 or something. I mean, it was something like that. And I'm like, okay, I've tripped whatever wire it is for them. I'll give it a few days, see if I can finally get book 4's audiobook.
The machines are in charge. This is not the sort of thing that any human is in charge of. This is 100%
exactly.
AI driven.
Bob is in charge of Amazon, is what I've decided. Anyway, so that was just something sort of fun. That's not really my something fun. So my something fun is, I don't know if you've seen this yet. I think I saw this a couple weeks ago, but then it popped up on my radar again today. There is a thing called the AI pin.
Oh,
have you heard of this?
Okay, the guy, I'm so awful. I'm so terrible with names. The guy who used to work at Apple that developed the keyboard, that wrote the book, moved to work for Humane. That's how I knew about Humane.
Johnny Ive?
No.
The other guy.
Way lower down.
Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, so anyways, this is a startup gadget, and it's a pin. Basically, it's a magnetic pin. You pin it to your shirt, and then you can talk to it, and it runs AI. The point is to liberate you from your smartphone. And the interface is, it's got a camera that projects the words onto your palm from your chest, from the little camera on your chest. So you hold up your hand, get it in the right location, and then it will see what you ask it. It's a voice interface completely, but with some hand gestures. So if you want to close or move something, you pinch your wrist together, you pinch fingers together, you flip your finger. So there is a different kind of thing. So this is they're trying to sell it for $700 plus $24 a month, because it has to be always online, always connected to the internet. So it comes with a cell card, a data card, I assume.
Wow. Okay.
Anyways, apparently investors are just pouring cash into this. It's $850 million is its current value, and they haven't even shipped anything yet. I mean, welcome to Silicon Valley startup. But anyways, It looks kind of fun. I don't know if I was given one, I would probably play with it. I don't know how it's going to, if it'll persist. But it's an interesting idea. A completely different take on a user interface, which I am all for, trying different ways to interact with technology. So,
Right?
That's my something fun today. The AI pin. If you got $700 and $24 a month to, throw away, let me know how it goes.
Okay, I'm not quite there yet. I mean, I can see it from my house, but not quite there. Sorry, that's a joke. The Ken Kosienda is, and the book is called Creative Selection, is the book I was trying to remember. I read it. Evidently, according to Apple, I bought that I purchased this on February 5th, 2021. So it wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
But I read the book. It was good. I clearly couldn't remember anybody's name. So, okay. I'm curious. I'm like, what are other ways that we will interact with things other than like pulling our phone out constantly?
Right.
And the watch, as I was at a show today and my watch beeped at me like 15 times during the show. And, I glanced at my watch every time and was like, it's clearly distractible. But we'll see.
All right.
Okay. My something fun is a new image from the James Webb Space Telescope.
I have not seen this yet.
And the cool thing of it is that they actually have the same image. This is of supernova, Cassiopeia A, and they have it with two different cameras from the Webb. One is the near cam, which I think is near infrared, and the other one is the MIRI.
Okay.
Which is mid-infrared instrument. So near infrared, mid-infrared.
Gotcha.
The MIRI one, the mid-infrared, they had released before, but the new one with the near cam, the near infrared, they just released. And it is gorgeous. I didn't actually go looking for a wallpaper, but I might have to turn that into a wallpaper or something like that. But let's see. You can see it side by side. This is great audio work because you can't see this at all, but you should go look at your podcast. I will make this the image for the chapter, and go look at the pictures. I'm sure they've got them on NASA, but the link I'll put in here is to the CNN article. But so let's see. So the image shows unprecedented details of the interaction between the expanding shell of material created by the supernova as it collides with the gas released by the star prior to the explosion. It looks completely different from the one taken by Webb in April using the telescope's mid-infrared instrument. Certain features stand out that are invisible in each image. Certain features stand out that are invisible in the other. And one of the things missing from the new image is the, quote, green monster. If you kind of look on the right image, there's this green mist, gas that is kind of in the middle. But in the new one, it says new details can be seen in the near infrared image that point to circular holes wreathed in white and purple, designating charged particles of debris that shape the gas shed by the star before it exploded. Anyway, so it's just a beautiful image. It's very cool. I'm very excited that the James Webb Telescope made it into space and is continuing to do research, and it's a beautiful thing. And I appreciate things like this that take that take society to actually fund and build and make happen, and it's awesome. So there you go. My something fun.
Nice. Someday we will have Bobs out there in the universe taking care of things too.
Well, maybe you should. Go read Bob. The Bobiverse is awesome. It's a good series.
It's a light read. It's not. It's not
this is
huge.
not,
This is for fun.
this
It's
is not
definitely a
work.
fun. No, it's a fun read.
I've been reading a lot of very, very light things lately. Not a lot of deep, heavy reading for me. I'm giving my brain a break. And
did you get your last Year of Sanderson box?
No, although I got an email that it shipped.
Okay, I just got mine yesterday.
Oh, so
there is a never before. Oh, do you want me to spoil it for you?
Yeah, you could spoil it for me.
There is a never before story that he wrote before he became famous. I think he wrote it in college.
Okay.
And he's released a book called Long Chills and Questo. So this one comes with a whole book. Something he's never done. And there's a secret QR code that you click on to go to a video where it's a hidden video on YouTube where only the Kickstarter backers can view, and he gives a nice thank you and says a lot of fun things. So
URLs can't remain secret like that, so I'm sure you could Google it and
I'm sure I could tell you what it is. Yeah.
But that's awesome. I will totally watch it. And it'll probably come tomorrow.
It's fun stuff. So
awesome.
Anyways.
All right, my friend.
Night.
Have a great night, and I will talk to you next week.
All righty. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.